All right, hello everyone. So this is episode 9 of the VBL podcast. I would say my most anticipated episode of season 1. Hopefully other people's most anticipated season 1 because we have Steve here for a very classic VBL match. Would you like to introduce yourself, Steve?
Hey everybody, it's Steve. Happy to be on the podcast.
All right. Well, this week if you were in the league um, when this happened, you probably remember it because I feel like I don't know, like so it's a little different because we both played in it, so I think we both remember it pretty well. But
Yeah,
there's usually like 2 to 5-ish sets a season from other coaches that I remember very well because something notable happened. Does that sound about right?
yeah. Just off the top of my head, another one from this season was that triple protect that I think Smoody got to win with Parish Song.
Hmm. Yeah. I feel like this is one of those, and you obviously also played this one, but the Electro Ball Cinderace is one of those also that I remember.
I did that twice actually.
Oh, you did that twice? I remember a like Max Quake, Max Thunder set. I don't know if that was both of them.
Yeah, that was week one, and then I also brought it
Mhm.
to the finals. But Cinderace didn't play in the finals, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly.
Oh, and our finals is a little different because there's more spotlight, but I remember the offensive P2 was finals, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that final set not that long
I'm,
from now, actually. But
I'm guessing I'll be back for that one.
yeah, we'll do something special for that. But this week, and so I'm changing it because Jordan actually had a very good suggestion, basically to just instead of post the replays in the description, just screen record them and put them in before we start talking. So we watched it before we started talking. All of you just watched it, so we'll talk a little bit about this game. So, first of all, um, I kind of want to jump into game two, actually, if
Game
that's
two.
okay. Yeah, because I think game two is a little more interesting. So, the coaching set obviously just totally got me game one, and then game two, you had like another mix up. You had the ally switch, and also you kind of once I saw the coaching, I kind of wasn't expecting Pyroball to do as much as it did.
Yeah.
Um, so what went into that sort of wacky set where you're still like an attacker, but you only have one attacking move and you have ally switch and coaching?
So I rewatched my team builder just to in preparation for this,
Hmm.
and Uh, my game plan, as I said in the team builder, was to just do coaching game one and then still have max attack so that I can do damage game two because
Hmm.
you wouldn't be expecting it. Um, and I think I said something about like I tried to EV to live a bunch of stuff, but I couldn't, so I just slapped a sash on.
Hmm.
And that led to the max attack Pyro Ball set because, I mean, you look at your team, your only resists are Fletchinder and Tyranitar here, so it's still going to do decent damage.
Hmm. Yeah. And what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. Um, this season with Metacham, I've noticed like a similar thing. Of just like if I want to put support moves on it, sometimes it's just better to sash it and throw on like close combat. So I think that's interesting.
Yeah, and
Um,
it's even more frail, right?
it's actually maybe it's frailer than Cinderace just because it has like starter stats, but Metacham is not as frail as I expected it to be. It's got like 70 base defenses, and I want to say
That's
80
not that
base
bad.
HP. Like it's just neither, both of them are like pretty soft, but I think neither of them are that. I could be wrong on this.
Yeah,
Um,
they're basically the same. Cinderace just has more HP.
yeah, okay. Um, yeah, so the Cinderace totally got me, and then the Dhelmise also completely got me. Like, I think this is one of the main sets in season one for me where someone used like I think of Dhelmise as like a definition. I don't even know what tier it was on the list. I assume tier two, but it's like a definitionally tier two Pokemon to me, where it's just like it's not you're never going to see it on ladder, but you could use it as a pretty dependable attacker in draft, right?
Yeah. It's
So,
hard to argue against 3 stabs
mhm,
that
mhm,
boost your defense when you're maxed, lower the opponent's defense, or set grassy terrain and boost the next overgrowth.
mhm.
Like,
Yeah,
very good in this Dynamax meta.
exactly. And I think I mean, I obviously overreacted because I had drafted Delmise season 2 way too early. But I think it was an interesting experience on my end because I just didn't even think of Delmise like that, if that makes sense. I
Yeah.
didn't see Delmise and go, oh, I need to figure out Delmise. Like the first turn of game 1, I targeted Cinderace. Like I was honed in on what I assumed to be the biggest threat,
Yep.
which I think that's an interesting point of growth for me because there are a lot of those like mid-tier mons. Like I also struggled pretty badly against Primarina, which I think ended up becoming clear to us that that was actually higher tier, but
Oh, yeah.
those like draft sweepers that aren't necessarily like great ladder Pokemon, I think getting a feel for what those do has definitely been important over the seasons.
Heracross is another example of that, as we
Yeah,
saw from Canner
yeah,
last season.
yeah, absolutely. I think, yeah, and I was even gonna say like game 2 when I was watching it, I expected it to be much less close. Like I remembered it being less close than it was, if that makes sense. And then
Yes.
I was kind of confused because like, oh, this is pretty close. And then I realized Heracross comes in, and I had nothing for it, just nothing.
I also
Uh,
hadn't Dynamaxed yet.
yeah, exactly. And I think that was, I mean, I must have considered it briefly since it was a fighting Pokemon. Like I think I did that at least, considered like fighting type Pokemon,
Yeah.
but I definitely didn't do enough for it because it was tough to take down. And then, yeah, go ahead.
The Icy Wind Porygon 2 also came in pretty clutch there.
Oh yeah,
Because
that was nice.
you set up Tailwind at the end of the game, but because you're
Hmm.
already at -2,
Hmm.
Heracross just knocked out the T-Tar.
Yeah. What are other things that happened in these games? Oh yeah. Did you notice? Did you think it was weird at all? I guess before you checked my paste, did you think it was weird that I brought in T-Tar as my maxer after it got totally demolished game 1?
Uh, well, let's see. You had like Reuniclus is definitely not coming in
Yeah,
onto that.
exactly. Exactly.
You only have Expanding Force and Flash Cannon. That's not going to do anything to Delmise. And then if I get a defense boost on Delmise, then the Excadrill is also not going to be doing too much. So
Yep.
I think you got pretty pinned there
It,
by the Delmise.
yeah, exactly. This is what I was going to try to show is that I think I didn't want to bring T-Tar since it got abused so badly. And then I think I realized that I literally did not bring anything for it. Like I
Yeah,
literally just did not plan for it. I mean, I probably could have brought Rapidash. It's a solid Pokemon when you need a fire type. Um, Reuniclus, I'm pretty sure has Shadow Ball.
yeah. All psychic types have Shadow Ball, I think.
Yeah. Mimikyu could have been more offensive.
Or had
Oh,
Will-O-Wisp.
yeah. Haunter probably could have had Will-O-Wisp. I also realized Haunter, when I threw out that Sludge Bomb, in Season 1, I did not know that Ghost resisted poison, and I didn't use the Team Hawk, so I didn't know that that would not be super effective,
Yeah.
which was funny. I was amused by that. Um,
So game 1, I get the coaching off. So
mhm,
I do get the crit on the Tyranitar. We were talking about this beforehand. But for the YouTubes, I get the crit. It wouldn't have killed without the crit, but because I was then at +2 defense,
mhm,
the max darkness going the other way would do a maximum of 39%. So
mhm,
even without the crit, that game's looking pretty dusted with
mhm.
Delmise at those stats.
Yeah. Um, I think the main thing with the coaching is that not only, and I mean this is why coaching was so good, but not only was the attack boost so good, but also like what I brought. I mean, we just said it was only T-Tar really that could do anything. With what I brought and the fact that it also stacks steel spikes on top, I just
Yeah.
couldn't break it because of the defense boosts, right?
And even if you did end up bringing Reuniclus and say the +2, the whatever flash cannon or
Expanding force, yeah.
expanding force are good enough to take it out, there's unaware Quagsire in the back as well.
Yeah, yeah.
With haze. It had haze too.
Yeah. And actually if you don't mind using that as a segue, I think Quagsire was a big tier 4 for you throughout the season, right?
Oh yeah,
Or
I used
when
it a
you
lot.
did you pick it up at some point?
I think I drafted it.
Okay. Um yeah, so and I think Quagsire is a classic like, you know, carries more than its weight for a team as a low tier mon because of unaware stuff.
Yeah.
Um how did you, and I mean we've sort of talked about this on the podcast before, but how did you sort of go about, especially in tier 4, finding value in sort of your first draft?
Trying to find my team. Hold on. Because I
Yeah, I
forget what I
can.
had for other tier 4s. Oh, I had Dunsparce, which did not play,
Mhm.
and Gloom, which did come twice. Um, and I made some trades too, because I know I had Lipard at some point.
Yeah, I can try to. Oh wait, James has the records document. That's the best thing to have open. If you go to the server and then league documentation, there is a archive document. So if you're looking for something, it's probably here.
Yeah, I have the season 1 spreadsheet up. It just doesn't have transactions, so I don't
Hmm.
remember what my, because I definitely dropped something for Delmise. Or
Well, I
sorry,
can,
not Delmise, Dunsparce.
yeah, I can look at the draft. What you had at the draft. You dropped Vikavolt, right? At some point.
Yep,
Yeah,
for
Vikavolt,
Magnezone.
Lipard,
Lipard for Grimmsnarl.
Rapid Strike
Yes, for
for,
Mantine.
yeah. And
I
then
think
did you trade Gmax Cinderace for non-Gmax Cinderace? Something like that?
no, Time Guy had regular Cinderace.
Okay. So you kept oh, you both had Cinderace Grimmsnarl, but you just had the different ones.
Yeah, we had each other's Gmaxes.
Hmm. And then Mawile didn't
Which, oh yeah, Mawile got dropped. That must have been for Dunsparce.
yeah. Mr. Rhyme stayed on the team, that was classic. Steelix I think stayed on the team but didn't do much, or no?
No, Steelix was dropped too.
Oh, okay.
I guess we had 5 trades back then.
We
Maybe.
had I think we had 5 and we also had a Grace.
Right. Maybe Heracross was an ad as well.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
feel like I
it was.
drafted Quagsire.
You did draft Quagsire.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, Grimmsnarl, regular Grimmsnarl, was a tier 2.
that is, yeah, that's wild.
And actually, Delmise was a tier 1, unless those are backwards.
I don't
That
think
would make
Delmise was
sense.
a tier 1. That must be a
Yeah,
mistake. I don't think Delmise was a tier 1.
yeah, so then Grimmsnarl was a tier 1, and Delmise is a tier 2.
Yeah. Um, but actually, if I expand out to, I honestly kind of forgot about your rhyme, just because it wasn't in the set. But your rhyme is another good example of value. Did you just sort of look at the whole tier list and pick out bonds you thought were good before the draft? What was, do you remember sort of what your strategy was there?
Uh, like, this was my first draft season as
Hmm.
well. So, like, through all of my free agent moves, I think I improved it a lot. But Rhyme
Hmm.
was always just there doing good things.
Hmm.
I think it was the third most played Mon on the team
Hmm.
after Cinderace and Porygon 2.
Hmm.
So I brought it most weeks, and it always had an impact.
Yeah, and did you just see like fake out icy wind and just oh this does stuff.
Yeah, I think I got it mainly for the fake out, but like
Mhm.
his stats are really good
Yeah, they are.
um,
And
all around.
screen cleaner can be clutch as well.
Yes, nobody the entire season I remember brought screens against me.
Granted, I don't know that anybody brought screens versus me. I think we weren't really using screens back then.
I brought screens to this match. I just didn't play Grimmsnarl.
Look, I mean, you had Grimmsnarl, but like now I consider screens basically every week, even if I don't bring it. Like I drafted Bronzong and I was like, this thing can set screens for me. I don't think I would have thought that in season one.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
I think screens, it's like you see them in action, you're like, oh, I can just not take damage. That's good. Um, but yeah, Rhyme was awesome. Trying to remember what I did. I think first two seasons, I think I looked at the entire bottom tiers and just like looked at the Cerebi pages or Showdown pages or whatever of like all of the low tier mons and was like, oh, this does a thing. This is a thing. And then just highlighted them on a document.
Yeah,
And I
like
had mhm,
if you look at my team, the only two that were even really three, I guess. The only three that were even really popular on ladder were Cinderace, Porygon 2, and Grimmsnarl.
mhm,
Everything else was, I guess, I just like this mon.
mhm. Yeah, and I mean, yeah, I had like T-Tar Excadrill were obviously big ladder mons. Mimikyu was like more fringe, but was a ladder mon, I think.
Yeah,
And then beyond that was all like these just look good. Like Reuniclus was not on ladder. Um, but yeah, I think it was a very difficult thing to try to fill out a roster without knowing what any of these things do,
hmm,
really. And I mean, I think even just from your original draft, your team looks really promising, and then obviously you made moves that made it really, really good. I mean, Delmai's. Oh no, no, you drafted Delmai's. What did you pick up?
picked up Mantine, Magnezone, Grimmsnarl,
Hmm.
Heracross.
Oh yeah, so Magnezone, Grimmsnarl, Heracross. Like you made moves uh, to really push it over the top, which I think
Yeah,
is. I mean, I think that's really important for season one, and part of the reason you had such success. Because like by the end of season one, I still didn't even really know what I did wrong. Like I had ideas, but like obviously I had some flawed ideas based off of uh what I
double ghost on the wheel.
yeah, not my best moment.
That was so funny because we were all in a call too.
Well, I remember I was like, should I do it? Should I do it? And I thought I was being so like it's like, oh, this is so brilliant. That was terrible.
Yeah, not your best moment.
And then I think like I honestly think that my team ended up being good at the end of the draft. I will die on that hill. Like, because Feeney Terrakion was such a good 3-4, but then I didn't understand that and I dropped Feeney before week 3
Yeah,
because I thought I wanted Coco, and then Coco was bad.
I'm looking at the standings right now. This season was
Hmm.
really close. There
Was it?
were five teams that were 7-3, and then three 6-4.
Yeah, I mean, there was one recently that was like razor thin in one of the conferences two
Was
seasons
that
ago.
ours in Daddy Plan Part 1? Me,
The
you,
part one.
Tay, AC.
Yeah, I think part one and part two actually were really close. I mean, we have the doc right here. Um, part one was my like goal trace draft.
Yeah,
I think I was toward the top of our
yeah, you
conference.
and AC were 5-2, I think, and me and Tay were 4-3.
Yeah. But I think I didn't have it locked down going into the week 4-2, and I may have been 4-1 before I was 4-2. I don't remember. Like that was contentious.
Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah, and then
Jace was in that division too.
yeah. Oh, Jace and I had a winner go home, I
Yeah, and I
believe.
had that with Bohm.
Yeah.
That was when I did the parish trap.
hmm Yeah, so that's the season I was thinking of when we had like multiple winner go homes in one uh division.
Yeah.
What was my I don't even remember my Daddy Plan Part 2 team. Oh wait, yeah, no, I do. I think I didn't do well with this team. Let me check. I had like a Rangaroo, Sylveon, Marowak. Oh,
Yeah, I
your team
don't
was sick.
remember.
Your team was
My
sick.
Shedinja team?
Yeah, your team was sick.
Yeah, that was fun. I had a lot of games that uh, ended up in just fun situations because of the existence of Shedinja.
Yeah. Um. Right. Oh no, I was pretty good in Daddy Plan Part 2. I do not remember that very well at all.
Yeah, I don't remember your team at all.
It was Sylveon, Marowak, Oranguru was the idea of it. It was just like spam moves with Oranguru. What did I?
I liked that. I liked that format. I think
Yeah,
when the DLC comes back, we should do another Daddy Plan.
yeah, I agree. Um, but I think we mentioned this. I don't know, sometime in the past. But what are you assuming that you're looking forward to DLC for draft reasons? What are you like most looking forward to that the DLC will bring?
New moves or the
hmm
return of old moves like Poltergeist or coaching.
Exactly. Yep. Yep. Coaching's a
Those are
big
the
one.
main. Steel Roller would be cool. I want some
hmm
more terrain setters.
hmm Oh yeah,
Polytoad.
train setter is a good one. Yeah. Well, so I think I mentioned with James or Poppin, there are so few fake out right now. And like especially like
Yes.
the like strong just like fake out mons. So like Kangaskhan, I think of as that. Um Hitmonchan is like a strong value, just like dependable fake out mon. Um those are really um they're really like tough misses because the
Yeah.
fake out distribution is so limited right now.
Yeah. All these mods are good that have fake out in the game, except for Delibird.
Yeah.
But basically everyone is actually a good mon on their own,
Yeah.
which is nice. There's not a lot of mons you would draft specifically for fake out like there was in the last gen.
Although I do have to say it's a little like it feels a little confining just because like I was looking at fake out whatever like pick 5 or whenever I ended up taking it. And the options at that point were Metacham, Toxicroak, Hariyama. So you need to if none of those fit on your team, you're not getting fake out or you need to take it really early and plan around it.
Yeah.
Um, which is a little like I like that having a little more variety in just like quality of fake out user allows you to I mean get a second fake out if you want it,
Yeah.
but also tailor what you're getting more to your team and your available points.
It's also just a way less important move this gen because of Covert Cloak, Terra
Absolutely, yeah.
Ghost.
Yeah.
There's a lot of anti-priority abilities,
hmm
Psychic Surge and Armor Tail, and whatever Bruxish has.
Yeah. Dazzling, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. I I definitely like I've gone kind of back and forth on it because last season I was like, oh, I don't need fake out. To hell with fake out. And then the first turn was just really tough for me. Just because, like, yeah, you can put on a covert cloak, but there are obviously, you sacrifice something to get a covert cloak. Um,
Yeah.
and sometimes you can't afford that super well, so you want to have ways to play around it without taking up your move slot, your uh,
You're right.
item
Or
slot.
Terra.
Yeah, or Terra. Um,
I think this week my match
mhm.
against Dozo, I really took advantage of that,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that he would want to fake out my Jolteon. I
Mm-hmm.
slap a Covert Cloak on it, and I immediately kill Sash Weavile because he faked out my Jolteon. You
Mm-hmm.
fake out the fastest thing on the field.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's really smart. And I think being able to anticipate those things, like the new items reward that kind of prep where you are able to anticipate very specific things. So like Covert Cloak, obviously, fake outs, Snarls, Icy Winds, and then
Yeah.
what is it, Clear Amulet for Intimidate, and the other things. But yeah, if you can anticipate those, I think those new items give you a decent amount more flexibility to play around this stuff, which is
Yeah.
cool.
Just waiting to see somebody use Ability Shield.
Is that protects you from having your ability changed?
Yeah.
I feel like we're not going to see that. You never know.
Yeah, basically only be on the Dozo, I think.
The
Who
bozo.
else gets skill swapped a lot?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Um, is there like notorious skill swapper? Not really, right?
Uh, Sableye could be.
Yeah. I
Metacham.
don't know.
There was a skill swap Metacham going around on the ladder that
Yeah,
had huge power.
but that's skill swapping to yourself, right? Like you wouldn't
Yeah, yeah.
unless you're gonna like prankster trick an ability shield onto your opponent, reading the skill swap, which that would be heat. Somebody should do that. Whoever
But
has
why
what
wouldn't you just why wouldn't you just give the ability shield to the one that needs it?
what?
You said prankster trick an ability shield.
Yeah, onto your opponent so that they can't switch huge power onto themselves.
Oh, okay, sorry. I thought you meant to yourself.
No, 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 no. You give your opponent the ability shield to prevent them from getting themselves huge power. Somebody has
Gotcha.
to bring this against me. Do I play a Sableye? If I play a Sableye, you have to bring that. Okay. But yeah, I mean that was so. I guess season one. So we know. I think most of the people know at this point. We've kind of hinted at it that you end up winning season one. Do you remember just like? Well, because I usually ask people like what they remember about the first season. So I think it's a little different being the champ. But I guess um, since you ended up at such a successful place by the end of season one, do you remember specifically any of the sort of growing pains of draft and how you reacted to those?
Uh, yeah, just figuring out that my original draft wasn't working well. I think I was 2 and 3.
Hmm.
Uh, and then that's when I made my trades.
Hmm.
And um, also just getting the ladder experience, realizing that Grimmsnarl is a massive upgrade over Liepard.
Hmm.
That was the main trade that really made everything come together.
Yeah.
But after I made that trade, I did not drop a set. I think the only one that beat me in a game was James. I
Yeah,
think it was all 2-0s other than that.
that's like nobody does that unless their name is Tay. So that's very impressive.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I mean like even looking at your team, like I think back when this set happened, I don't think I looked at your team and was like, wow, this is the greatest team I've ever seen. But now, looking back, and I think immediately after this game or this season, I probably would have been like, this is the greatest team ever assembled, because I was a very reactionary uh, individual.
I think it
Um,
is a very good team.
yeah, but I was gonna say, looking at where this came out, it's an extremely, extremely good team because you have the balance between like the sort of the P2 Delmai's slow mode, the mostly Cinderace fast mode, but then you also have the Grimmsnarl to sort of tie those together and just provide general support to either of those modes. I think that's really just like quality team building.
And they're all really bulky too,
Yeah. Oh
except
yeah.
for Cinderace.
Yeah, but Cinderace, I don't know. It has like effectively bulkier because it can change its type,
Yeah.
and also like it just kills stuff. So like if one thing's hitting you, you're bulkier than if two things are hitting you.
Also, a lot of mix-ups on this team. Like I did
Hmm.
special Cinderace a few times, support Cinderace, mostly just physical sweeper Cinderace, but
Hmm.
support P2, offensive P2. Did some body press Magnezone stuff.
Hmm.
I did Scarf Sunny Day Heracross 1 week. I did offensive Mantine and support Mantine. I did physical special and support Quagsire. Dhelmise is basically always the same thing, but
Hmm.
um,
And
I
then
remember 1 week I brought Dynamax Grimmsnarl with Pickpocket
hmm.
with Life Orb Iron Head Mantine next to it.
That's nice. Do I remember correctly from your season review that Rhyme had like an average of 3 new moves every time it came? It had
Yes,
like
something
20
like that.
moves. It had like 20 moves the whole season.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that was a big source of mix-ups as well.
that is something I try to do often
Yeah.
because
Oh,
then you
absolutely.
don't really know what you're gonna bring if you're switching it up every time. It also leads to some really dumb stuff.
Hmm. Yeah, and I mean that's one of the things I've always like admired about how you play is you are very like hard to read is not the right word, but like hard to read, varied in your approach, and I think it makes it very difficult to prep. And I mean, I think you've been doing that since. I mean, evidently you've been doing that since season one because you destroyed me like that in season one.
It definitely leads to my downfall a lot as well.
Yeah,
I'll
I
I'll do
mean,
some
yeah,
random ass strat and it will just not work. Like when I brought Frostmoth to counter a Heatran.
but if it worked,
Yeah.
they would
Ooh,
have. Think about the songs that would have been sung about you. Um, yeah, and I feel like was Como your random draft?
yes.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that was
granted, the
fun.
team didn't set you up for success, and you had more success than you probably should have. Uh, but I remember you had some weird Como strats that didn't necessarily work out.
I think I only brought it twice, maybe
Really?
3 times against you,
Goodness.
because I also had Terrakion on that team.
Yeah.
So it was most of the time outclassed by Terrakion.
Okay, maybe I'm remembering a specific game then.
I brought it against you, I brought it
Hmm.
against Braff. And against Braff, it got frozen for 3 turns.
Oh, I don't know where my mind is. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of, and I'm just completely wrong. Um, yeah, freeze sucks. Also, like,
It's,
yeah, Terrakion's good though. I don't know. My mind is scattered.
it's a fun it's a fun way to draft. I think
Random.
everybody should try a random draft once
I.
because
Mhm.
it's completely impossible to prep against a team that's randomly assembled because there's no clear synergies.
Yeah, I might do that. I might consider that if I have like one more very successful season. It's like it's been a while, um, since I've gone deep into the season.
What
Uh,
are you right now? 2-1? 1-2?
1 and 2. I like my team though. I like my team.
Yeah. Who have you played?
Uh,
Ray.
Ray, week 1 was. Oh, my apologies. One of the new coaches.
Purple Rain?
That was this week. Um,
No.
First week. Oh, Void. I think. Pretty sure it was Void. Week 1. Uh,
Mm,
Week 1 I won with a very like. That's like one of my most used sets I've ever brought. I had
oh yeah, you
Bug
sent
Bite.
me the paste.
Yeah, I had Bug Bite Scatterbug. I had Bulldoze Bronzong, and I had Terra Steel, Weakness Policy Arboliva, and it just cleaned up. I
Good
was pleased
old
with that.
Scatterbug.
Yeah, I was pleased with that one. And then I brought Scatterbug week 2, kind of stupidly, because I was like, Scatterbug. I was like, he'll never expect it to come 2 weeks in a row. But
Hey, we both have Bronzong. Bronzong's number 4 in kills when you combine both divisions or both conferences.
yeah, I mean, I've used it very like up and down kills wise because I think it didn't come week one, or no, it came week one. I think it probably came all 3 weeks for me, but I believe like total support week one, got a bunch of kills week two, and then did nothing week three. I want to say I don't. This is just highlighting my memory. It's awful,
Yeah.
but it's been very
Up,
like yeah. Go ahead.
up until this week, I brought Bronzong to every game,
Hmm.
and I
It's
haven't
awesome.
used Trick Room on him yet. It's just been killing shit.
I mean, look, it's like it didn't end up working out super well against Fluttermane. But like some of those fast mons, you just bring Gyro Ball. They're expecting you to set Trick Room. You can pretty easily EV to live whatever Fluttermane's gonna do to you. And I mean, Fluttermane it doesn't really get stronger than that. And Gyro Ball is gonna like OHKO some of those.
Yeah, Gyro Ball O-Code Roaring Moon.
Don't tell people that. Oh wait, nobody can use Nobody can use Bronzong against Roaring Moon until I play you. But if I play you, that would be fine. That would be the final. Yeah, that would be the finals. So
Yeah, yeah, that's
we can
not
fix
gonna
that.
happen.
What's the
On,
limiting factor?
I'm not making grand
Oh,
finals.
okay. Okay.
I may be plus 17 right now, but that's probably gonna change.
I don't know. You never know. Um, yeah, I mean, we can probably start wrapping up about now. Um, sorry, I was kind of a little like scatterbrained this morning. Is there anything that you thought about while watching this set or wanted to touch on that we haven't really talked about yet?
Uh, I don't think so. I
All
think we
right.
touched on it a little bit afterwards, just how much I like Quagsire, how much
Yeah.
I like the variability of Cinderace's sets.
Mm-hmm.
And as we get into the playoffs, I'll talk more later about Porygon 2,
Mm-hmm.
because it basically sweeps every single round.
Yeah. I think probably one of the most dominant like single Pokemon playoff runs we've seen.
It,
There
it
have
went
been
like thir-
some. What?
it went like 13-0 or something.
Yeah, I think it didn't die. So yeah, everybody get excited for the reign of Steve. It's coming. Be prepared.